you say in your prepared statement that there are three basic criticisms of the FBI which it is addressing. The one that I was struck by was the middle one, where you say that the FBI failed to exchange information with other elements of the intelligence community, and that it is addressing that failure or that criticism. But what I hear from Mr. McGaffin and Mr. Hamre is that they wouldn't say that that's the right question. And so this is the second part of my question, is to the two of you. Because the way you pose the question, it is not did they share the information they had, but did they cooperate with others in setting the strategic goals of collection and go out together with the other relevant agencies, primarily in the intelligence community, to seek out the right information domestically. And so my first question is whether the three of you would comment on that. That is, what is it that is the failure, if you will, and how are we going about addressing that failure? And if you could be brief, because I have a number of follow-ups, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I do think one of the failures was the failure to have in place, develop, foster intelligence collection as a function distinct from building criminal cases with criminal predicates. And I also think it was a failure not to have an analytical capability. And a lot of the sharing problems were caused by, in my view, ill-conceived constraints on law enforcement and the sharing of intelligence information. In terms of the setting of the target, it's true that intelligence collection is different than gathering, and it should be focused, and there has to be some agreement as to what the end is. But I also think we can get a little carried away here, because a lot of this counterterrorism intelligence domestically within the United States has somewhat of a tactical flavor to it. In other words, it is focusing on groups and elements. It's not sort of sitting back and saying, where's the next threat coming from? And, is this a breeding ground for terrorists over here in this part of Africa or what have you? That's CIA's function. But the function of sort of protecting the homeland when groups get into the United States has a certain operational tactical flavor to it. And I'm not sure that it's the same as sort of doing national intelligence estimates and sitting around figuring that, I don't think it takes that long to figure that out, frankly.
The joint inquiry was also told that all source counterterrorism analysis suffered because analysts would not locate at the counterterrorism center, had limited access to new material in FBI counterterrorism investigations, including Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act information, unpublished NSA information, and CIA operational cables. The Special Assistant for Intelligence at the Defense Intelligence Agency testified about the extent of these problems. Quote, "In my opinion, one of the most prolonged and troubling trends in the intelligence community is the degree to which analysts were being expected to incorporate all sources of information into their assessments have been systematically separated from their raw material of their trade, at least for a few highly complex, high-stakes issues, such as terrorism, where information by its nature is fragmentary, ambiguous, and episodic. We need to find ways to emphatically pull back in the discipline of all source analysis," end quote. At the FBI, information access continued to be frustrated by serious technological shortfalls. The Bureau's Deputy Assistant Director for Counterterrorism Analysis told the joint inquiry, quote, "There were a variety of problems in sharing information, not only with other agencies, but within the FBI itself. This was and is largely attributable to inadequate information technology. In a nutshell, because the Bureau lacks effective data mining capabilities and analytical tools, it has often been unable to retrieve key information and analyze it in a timely manner," end quote. Following the attack on the USS Cole, the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, recognized the need for better information sharing and initiated the Joint Terrorism Analysis Center. The DIA Special Assistant for Intelligence also testified, quote, A specific aspect of the concept of operations was its provisions for a highly protected merged database containing all U.S. intelligence on terrorism, regardless of sensitivity, sourcing, or collection methods. There was a director of DIA initiative to overcome the evident vulnerabilities posed by insufficient intelligence sharing within the U.S. intelligence community. Although intelligence community principles endorse the idea of time and sense, it has been not so far been implemented. Legacy rules, policies, interpretation of regulations, and urgency cultures continue to impede information and data sharing, end quote. Witnesses also described a lack of collaboration among analysts within the intelligence community. Terrorist-related intelligence officers consist of small fragments of seemingly disparate information. Information that may seem unimportant to one agency may be critical to another. Capitalizing on the analytical strength of each intelligence agency to understand the terrorist target from different angles should be paramount. Unfortunately, there was no mechanism in place to enable interagency collaboration. Although it was established with the intention that it would be the intelligence community's hub for counterterrorism activities, some suggested that the Counterterrorism Center operational focus significantly overshadowed collaborative strategic analysis. In interviews, NSA analysts, for example, said that the CIA Counterterrorism Center viewed themselves as subordinate, despite the value of their products. Constructive CTC feedback on their reports was rare. A positive step was taken in early of 2001 when the NSA and the CIA's Counterterrorism Center, the CTC, and their analysts began holding biweekly video teleconferences, but these were suspended following the 9/11 attacks due to workload demands. DIA analysts reported that their efforts are not fully appreciated by CIA. According to a senior DIA official, a lack of trust on the part of collectors and all source analysis underlined the failure of the CIA to share information with the rest of the intelligence community concerning the January 2000 Malaysia meeting that involved at least two of the 9/11 hijackers. Another component of collaboration is understanding the culture and information requirements of other intelligence agencies. NSA regularly sends liaison personnel to either intelligence agency to help NSA customers better understand its products. Currently, there are NSA analysts assigned to the CIA's Counterterrorism Center. Before September 11th, there were a number of analysts working there. There are NSA analysts at the FBI as well. And before September 11th, there were a number of them working with the FBI. These analysts often do double duty as NSA liaison, and by working on projects for the offices for which they are designed for.